Secretary General of the ANC, AceMagashule, is expected to appear in the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court this morning. He'll hand himself over, we're told, to the hawks in the province first. Mohlaoli faces a string of charges relating to the multi-million rand asbestos project. 255 million rand was paid out in a tender to remove asbestos from homes while Mohlaoli was Free State Premier. Now, he's accused of scoring up to 10 million rand from that failed project. Now, our reporters are in the province for you. We've got the story covered for you from all angles. Tumaole Mohlaoli is outside the Hawks offices in the province. Ziyanda Ngcobo is outside the Magistrates Court, and Zinhle Kanyane is on the other side of Bloemfontein as well. Let's begin with you, Tumaole. And we spoke to you about an hour ago to get the latest from outside the Hawks offices in Bloemfontein. Has there been any movement there since?
Very good morning, Michelle. In fact, there's been quite a flurry of activity outside the Hawks offices. People are beginning to gather out here as they look on curiously. Curious bystanders, many asking questions of what's going on. Is today the day? I'm going to just walk and let you see just what I'm talking about. People here, as you can see behind me, with their cell phones waiting in anticipation as news has been breaking of the imminent arrest warrant to be issued for AceMagashule. He's supposed to be handing himself over to the Hawks here at the Hawks offices in Bloemfontein. This is the situation as it happens right now. Now, if I can also just throw to the entrance of the Hawks building behind me, you can see there's an official there, the lady in the black top. She is an official of the Hawks. She has been standing here for the past hour or so. Of course, she is standing by, and there are also SAPS members in a bakkie just outside the door off shot. So we are waiting to see what's going to happen in the next few moments, because we expect that within the next I suppose 2 hours or so, ANC Secretary General AceMagashule will then arrive here at the premises and officially hand himself over to the Hawks before going to the court precinct. We are not sure exactly where he will come through. We expect this might be the entrance, but we are told by officials that there is another entrance to the building. But judging by what is happening out here with the police here, of course with the large crowd gathered here, and of course with the official, the lady there behind me from the Hawks, it certainly seems that he will be handing himself coming through this particular entrance where we are standing. What's been happening in the streets is that as we've been standing here, cars have been driving past with ANC members, draped in party regalia, waving flags outside car windows, hooting, certainly creating a very lively atmosphere. Whether those are ANC Secretary General AceMagashule supporters or those who are detractors, those who have been critical of him and those who are, happy that he's now going to appear before court, it remains to be seen. Those people are making their way to the court precinct as we speak.
All right, well, thanks very much for that update. Tumaole Mohlaoli is outside the Hawks offices for us in Bloemfontein. Just as soon as that arrival by AceMagashule does unfold, we will, of course, take you back there live at some point in this morning. In the meantime, let's take you now to our reporter Ziyanda Ngcobo, who is covering the preparations outside the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court for us this morning. And Ziyanda, you've been there since early this morning. We've been talking about the supporters of AceMagashule rocking up in their thousands. We're also hearing people like Carl Niehaus saying in their tens of thousands. What's the latest?
Well, Michelle, I can tell you that this area is still cordoned off and there are preparations well underway within the courtroom. But to talk me through about what else we can expect today, Michelle, it's the NPA's Sipho Ngwema. Thank you for your time, Mr. Ngwema. Now, let's start off with, the issue of the warrant arrest was publicized before Mr. Mohlaoli was actually informed. Do you think that this confirmation, prematurely as some have said, may actually compromise your case, which will be heard in court today?
Firstly, look, good morning, and it's very difficult to say who did what and how it ended up in the newspapers or in the media. anything
it's
is
quite
possible.
clear. I must say, the Free State Hawk spokesperson, Linda Steyn, was actually confirming to us on air that she signed the warrant of arrest.
No, signing is it's something else, but leaking it or sending it to the media is a totally different case. But I think that action, whichever way, doesn't affect the facts that are going to be presented before a presiding officer. Investigation has been done. We know the facts, and the prosecutor then will lead the case at the appropriate time. But I think, as far as we know, we have collected the evidence, and the evidence is what is going to be led. Whether or not the information was released in the week, it doesn't affect how things are going to proceed.
Another issue that's come up, Mr. Ngweme, is the fact that sometimes suspects are asked to hand themselves over. Other times, just like Edwin Sodi, you have them in handcuffs. What is the process? Because Mr. Mohlaoli has been asked, he's been invited to hand himself over, which some may interpret as him receiving special treatment.
Yes, I understand what you're saying, but unfortunately, with the NPA, we host people in court. How they are secured, it's a mandate or a purview of a different area altogether. All you will see in terms of how we process people in the NPA, they are all going to be in the dock. They are all going to face the magistrate. So things, when it comes to court proceedings, are consistent, and we want to keep them that way.
There's another concerning issue. There's a media report coming out that the prosecutor who is meant to be leading this case has had their home burgled, ahead of this matter before the courts. Are you concerned at all about the safety of your prosecutors and the ability then, or the possibility of dockets going missing or information actually going missing?
I haven't seen Johan. I'll probably see him now in the next few minutes and probably chat about what is reported. I don't know whether that is true or not. But in any case, when it comes to security issues, we are fairly okay as the NPA, and those are the areas that we don't want to dwell on much. But we are fairly okay with what we have put in place and making sure that information is secured and we're able to proceed with our cases.
Well, there you have it, Michelle. That's the NPA's Sipho Ngweme, touching on several issues, but of course the critical one coming out from a News 24 report that the prosecutor has had his home burgled in, and of course this raises questions about the security of prosecutors ahead of this, high-profile matter this morning.
For that update there, Ziyanda and Ngcobo. Let's take you now to our colleague Zinhle Kanyane, who is tracking another leg of the story around AceMagashule, in fact unfolding over the past, say, 12 hours or so, Zinhle. That night vigil that was held just last night in Bloemfontein in preparation for what's set to unfold today.
Definitely, that night vigil went on to around midnight, where supporters were singing, supporters that have come from all over the country, from what we're told, assembled at the Rose Garden last night, holding that night vigil throughout the whole night, and we're told unto the wee hours of the morning. But today, those supporters have made their way to court. We are just opposite where Ziyanda is right now, on the opposite side of the court, just over the bridge, which is where these supporters will be assembling as AceMagashule makes its way to the Bloemfontein Magistrate Court for those corruption charges. I'm joined by one of the senior leaders of this province here in the Free State, Vusi Shabalala. I just want to bring him into the conversation, Michelle. Vusi, thank you for your time. Perhaps let's start here, Vusi. The SG himself has asked ANC members not to support him today, not to come to court today. But when we spoke to Carl Niehaus last night in the night vigil, he says every single person that's here is here on the mandate of their branches and not in their own capacity. Tell me why you are here, Vusi.
Well, before I'm deployed in the deployment of the ANC, I'm a member of the branch. I'm from the branch called Butibeng in Maluti sub-region in Thabo Mofutsanyana. So I'm here to support the Secretary General of the ANC. Like any other leader, we support.
You are a chief whip of the ANC here in the legislature. These kind of appearances, what is happening today, does it not divide the ANC and the legislature even further?
Well, it is unfortunate. This is the current epoch of politics, and what we need to do, we must understand that in the structures of the ANC, we don't resolve our matters in the platform of media. We are the members of ANC, and we know in terms of our constitution, every little information that concerns any member of the ANC must actually be discussed within the structures of the ANC. It is unfortunate. You remember 2007, where President Jacob Zuma was crucified through the processes of using scorpion, to deal with political issues. Now we see it now, where the hawks are now being used, as to fight the political battles. We can see we are people. I mean, we will come to that space. We can't wait to see the NGC happening. And remember, in terms of the constitution, it's not the SG or the president who call the NGC. It's the branches of the ANC who will request the NGC. And in that platform, we'll be able to raise our issues and we will correct the ANC. And we are happy. You can see the IEC by elections. They speak for themselves. Leaders of the ANC, they are not important. What is important are the masses of our people in the country. And we will fight that.
Do you think he should step down now that he's facing charges? Just very briefly, please.
Well, what is stepping out, step down? We don't have such a policy in the ANC. I was a delegate in Nasrec. I contributed in the plenary of Nasrec. And we are shocked what is happening. And there are those handlers who are using media to fight the political battles. And we are aware of it. Any leader has got a right to be charged by any court of law or anybody. But they must prove any leader, whether he's right or wrong. Because now that we know that we need to support the rule of law, and we will definitely support it. We will listen to the court. What are the charges for our Secretary General of the ANC?
All right. Thank you so much. That was Vusi Shabalala. He is the Chief Whip of the legislature here in the Free State. I just want to move in a little bit, Michelle, to show you some of the protesters that have just walked past us
Zinhle,
during that
interview.
interview. These are some of the ANC supporters. Just earlier in our crossing, we saw that the buses had been coming in. So it's clear that scores and scores of people will be expected to come here and support AceMagashule.
Thanks very much for that to our group of reporters there, Tumaole Mohlaoli, Ziyanda Ngcobo and Zinhle Kanyane.